Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. And already we have something very interesting on the screen. But today I have with me Ayo and Yolo. Do you guys have like a weird synergy with your names that they're kind of similar? Like it's kind of cool. Anyways, okay, so
Okay.
I got a black homie with me and a white homie with me just to talk about this. So, Comme, this is yesterday. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
yesterday, where
Mhm.
Comb brought out white dudes with some braids, and immediately everyone started going insane about it on my Instagram. I mean, not on my Instagram. I saw it on Twitter first, actually, which is weird because I don't really follow any fashion people on Twitter. So I was like, what the hell is going on? And people are in a fucking uproar. Isn't aren't you put something on your story earlier like, oh, how do people feel about this? Aren't people going like crazy right
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, they're going insane, bro. They're going mad.
What are some of the comments? Like, what are some people saying?
So basically, someone brought up a good point. He was saying that basically, when black people do like braids and stuff, is seen as unprofessional. It's seen as like ugly and stuff like that. But when a white person does it, like I know Kim Kardashian did it recently, and
I
people
think so.
changed the name of it and were trying to say, "Oh, this is such a cool hairstyle, it's edgy." But when a black person does it, there's always something negative that comes with it. So I understand that side of it, but it's so hard to defend it
It
when
is. Okay,
black people wear like blonde wigs and stuff and like do blonde weave.
you know what? I can't even defend that. I mean, first of all, look at this. This is on New York Post. That's ridiculous. Number one, I can't even defend that argument where people are like black people are seen as whatever. First of all, that only happens with old white people usually. Sometimes other people, but you get the idea. It's usually old white
Yeah.
people. Number two, just because some other people said whatever about your hair doesn't mean you take it on all white people. That's literally racism. That's literally the definition of racism. You don't like, you know what I mean? Like that's literally the definition. Just because some other white dude said your cornrows look nasty, doesn't mean that another white guy trying to wear cornrows is trying to one up you. Like it's not how things work. And number three, where are you? I doubt that the men, like, it's not all negative. People say your hair is cool sometimes too. When like people think my dreads are cool, and some people say that they're unprofessional. And you know what? For a matter of fact, the people who the majority, actually, I think all the people who said my hair is unprofessional are black people. So I don't know what the hell. Like we're gonna make a cultural war out of this. Anyways, Yolo, you're a white guy, of course. You're very white, very very
Thanks
white.
for
So,
reminding me.
like very white. What do you think about this?
Um, I
Don't hold back.
I think I don't know really, cause like I'm kind of like over all these kind of like I just see people seeing it as an opportunity to just like chat shit.
Right, right.
Um, but that was the whole point of the collection anyway. We'll probably go into what the point of the collection was later on. Um, but yeah, I think it's a tricky situation because lots of people don't actually know that. Loads of people don't even know that there's like context and meaning to a collection.
Yeah,
Full
yeah.
stop. They think it's just meant to be nice clothes walking down a catwalk. Um,
That's the
so
most
yeah.
frustrating thing about like being into fashion is that people will ask you about like certain shows that you just haven't watched, and I'd be like,
Mm,
well, I don't know the context. I didn't watch the show. I don't have the notes or anything. Like I don't know. And they just,
yeah.
like you said, they just think it's just nice clothes going down the runway.
hmm
Do you know the context of this? I don't.
it's a bit complicated because so the show notes there was like literally nothing on there. It was just credits.
Mm-hmm.
So it was basically left up to interpretation.
Okay.
But generally, Ray does that when. So you know how the joke, if you have to like explain it,
Right,
over,
right.
you kind of ruin
Then
it.
it just ruins the. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Ray kind of treats her collections like that. If
Who-
she has to write like paragraphs,
Wait, go back a second. Who's that? Who's Ray? Let everyone know.
Ray Kawakubo is the designer, creative director, whatever of Comme des Garçons, or this collection anyway.
Okay, cool.
There's several different Comme des Garçons collections. She does this one specifically as the sort of the main headline brand under the Comme des Garçons house.
What would happen? What's the alternative if like let's say for another fashion show, a black person wore straight hair? You know, what would the alternative be?
Yeah, I don't know if that's like.
If a black person wore straight hair, I don't think anyone would care. I don't even think it would even be a story.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Nothing would happen because I mean, it's so ridiculous for let's get mad at this person for doing this. I remember. This is a story. We're kind of stepping out a little bit of fashion with this talk, but that's okay because, you know, whatever. But I remember in particular one time I was in high school a few years back, and this Asian kid was talking to me about like getting dreads, and this is where I was like first getting them, and this other black kid was going off on him, and I was like, bro, shut the fuck up. Like, don't listen to this kid. Do whatever you want. Like, it's your hair. I'm not about to tell you what to do with your hair. I literally all I said with him is that. It might be difficult because it might be a little more difficult than it was for me, obviously, because of your hairstyle. For us to be picking out who can do this and who can do that, I mean, it's ridiculous. Like you said before, Ayo, like when a black person wears like a blonde wig, nobody or dyes their hair blonde or anything like that. Like nobody's like, oh, what are you doing? Like, because then they would be seen as racist. But
yeah,
other way around, we can be mean to these people all we want. Also, it seems like the Twitter post I saw, it seems like people don't know that models get hired or something. It was so weird. People getting mad at the models. I was like, it was on Twitter specifically, and I was like, do you guys know what a fashion show is? Before you start getting up in arms?
That's why even on my Instagram story, I put a lot of people don't have the context of Comme des Garçons to even bring into the argument. And that's going to be a big reason why a lot of opinions won't even make sense.
Right. I mean, if you're gonna have a crazy strong opinion about something, know the facts first. That's like if you were into politics, for example, and just didn't know anything about politics, and you just try to have an argument. It's like, well, go read up first, then you can come back to me, and then we can talk. I don't see the ridiculousness in this, and in other instances where white people had dreads or whatever. And I mean, it's so crazy to me how like big this got in just a short amount of time. I said I was going through his Twitter, saw it once, went to sleep. Now it's on the fucking New York Post. Like, I mean, it's just ridiculous. Quick question: what was Comme thinking with these cornrow wigs? Oh my goodness.
But it's like, if you look at them, they're like obviously like intentionally done bad.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand.
Like, you can see the like lace and stuff, and it's like halfway down their forehead.
It's really bad. Yeah.
And like Comme, like if they wanted to, they could do them perfectly, and like you would not know it's a wig.
Right. Yeah, I love that's how like one of the arguments is like oh, they didn't know how to do it right. That was so fun to me. It's like it's a very high class fashion brand. You don't think they could have done braids
knowing
correctly?
Ray is probably done deliberately, and the fact that it's like way past their foreheads.
So when you say knowing Ray, what does that mean? What is she known for?
She just has very conceptual ideas. Like, you can't really understand it until she comes out and says it herself. Because when she explains it, people are going to be like, oh, it actually makes sense. Because what if she says it's inspired by some Japanese warriors in the 18th century, and then she actually has proof to show. Because a lot of these hairstyles, it's not just black people that do it. That's
Not at all.
That's also a big thing. Like, a lot of people from different cultures, like Celtic warriors, like someone said, used to do hairstyles that were braids and dreads and stuff. So that could also be where the inspiration is from. That's why when it comes to someone as artistic and conceptual as Ray, you can't really just jump to conclusions like that.
Right. Do you think even if she comes out and explains, it'll make a difference, or will the damage have already been done?
It won't make a difference, only because people just love to be offended.
Yeah. like I said on your Instagram, I forgot the exact line, but I was like, black people who are upset about this practice recreational anger. And it's just like,
I just feel like this is one of the reasons why like there's so many race issues even in 2020,
oh yeah,
because people get like offended over really irrelevant stuff like hairstyles. Like it's a different case when Kim Kardashian is claiming she made the hairstyle popular. Then it's like,
right,
no, no,
right.
no.
That's the yeah.
Like chill. But just to wear the hairstyle, I don't see what the issue is.
Did anyone else on your Instagram try to defend it at all? Did you see anyone trying to defend it?
Oh yeah, loads of people. It's just endless messages.
Okay, we talked
After
about.
after this, I'm gonna go back and
Oh
see if I
yeah.
can reply to them.
We talked about one of the responses you got. What do you get any other ones besides the one where it's like, oh, black people are seen as improper with cornrows? However, did you see any arguments besides that?
So there was a counter argument to my argument saying that the reason why a lot of like let's say Indians or white people do braids and dreadlocks is to be edgy. But when a black person does a white hairstyle, say a weave or they wear a wig, it's because they're trying not to be judged for doing a black hairstyle. So everything that comes with black hairstyles, like being unprofessional, being unintelligent, that sort of stuff, they're trying to go against that. So they're trying to say that like black people have more of a warranted reason for doing a white hairstyle than the other way around.
That's tough. Number one, just getting into it, for them to try to avoid the whole stipulation behind the hairstyle is bad, because the whole point of you explaining that the hairstyle is good, should you be trying to keep it? If we're really trying to demonstrate that our hairstyles, regardless of what it is, we can be sophisticated and smart and intelligent and all this other kind of stuff, then shouldn't you keep your hairstyle?
Yeah.
So that argument doesn't make sense. And for the other way around, for it to make more sense for us to do what hairstyle, maybe a white person just think cornrows looks good and they want to have a cornrows. It doesn't always have to be some kind of like grandeur meaning than that.
Yeah.
It seems ridiculous. Yola, would you ever have cornrows?
I don't know. I think I like when I was on holiday in like Barbados or was it either Barbados, Jamaica, or St. Lucia. I think I was given like cornrows like on the beach.
By who? By some random Jamaican person?
I think they worked at the hotel or something.
Like did somebody
I had 7 or something.
like did somebody just run up on you and was like, "Do you need cornrows?" Like,
no, it was like part of like the activity from the holiday kind of.
Okay.
But yeah, it seems like those people didn't care about it and like were happy to give them. So I don't know.
Please, this whole culture appropriation thing is the wrong people getting angry at the wrong shit. It's just no reason for it. Like I don't know if you guys saw, like I think this is a few years back, some white girl wore a Chinese dress to prom or some shit. You know, these other white people were upset at her. Or actually, there was one Asian dude that was upset at her, but other white people were upset at her. I was like, what? I don't
But
understand.
see, that's where it just doesn't make sense because, like, black people wear suits. Suits is a European form of clothing.
Exactly.
So it just sometimes, like, this stuff, it doesn't make too much sense.
When you break it down like that, then we're all just you could just go down the rabbit hole and just be like, well, baseball caps were invented by the white man.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
And
it's just like you go through this whole fucking thing, and then like you start getting into things that don't have anything to do with. I know I've had one of these arguments with somebody before, with a white chick. Actually, she was trying to tell me to be angry about something like this, and you just get into this argument. Like, she's like, I think she said something about black people making the traffic light, and I was like, I think white guys make computers. So I mean, what am I supposed to not use computers and I use the fucking traffic light? So stupid. The fuck is going on with this? I don't understand it.
One
It's
argument
like-
I saw on Twitter was like it's like if somebody appropriates a culture for like Halloween and kind of uses it for like entertainment and kind of fun purposes to basically sort of parody someone's culture,
Yeah.
then there's a case for like calling cultural appropriation.
That I see what you mean, but that depends really. Like, I don't know. That's tough. That one's probably tough. That one you can make I can see the argument either way, but I feel
Yeah,
like
it depends though, because like obviously if you're dressing up as Will Smith, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
yeah.
But if you're dressing up as like a slave or some dumb shit like that, then obviously, like if
Yeah.
you're a slave for Halloween, that doesn't make sense.
What if some guy just comes up to your Halloween party just as a slave, and he's like, and he starts pointing at the costume and pointing at you like, you see what I'm doing here? Anyways, like, Yolo trying not to laugh so he doesn't get canceled. Nah, yeah. I mean, the only thing I would say about that is Will Smith is kind of hard to dress up as, because what the hell are you gonna wear? But that's not really the argument.
Men in Black? Oh no, just wear black suit, shades.
Yeah. But
Just play one of his characters in a movie or something.
yeah, that makes sense. Oh my goodness. But I mean, what if you dress up as like an Irishman, but you're not disrespectful about it? Like you're just an Irishman. You know, that's tough.
Yeah, it is tough, and that's why it's like
That one has more validity.
where is the line? Obviously, like slavery, for example, that's a line.
Yeah,
but, like,
of course.
it's hard to really draw a line on these things, which is why it's really hard to just call out appropriation every second and at every opportunity.
That argument has more validity to it than this one, of course.
Yeah.
Cause I don't know how I'd feel if someone dressed up as like I mean, there's no real uniform for a Haitian guy, but if someone dressed up as a Haitian for Halloween, I don't know, you know, it might be like, fuck you. Is this okay? Question for both of you: is this why we don't see more fashion brands trying to go crazy with their hairstyles, like trying to step out of the comfort zone with hairstyles because of this?
No, I think that's more to do with that they only have like a couple of hours to do the hair before the show.
A couple of hours, but I mean, yeah, okay, but still, you don't think that somebody would take the time to do something like with crazy with hair, regardless of the time constraint? Because let's be honest, you have a time constraint for everything. Let's not act like hair specifically is the only thing that, you know, it's like, come on, let's go. Everything is like that.
Yeah, but like the hair is like they're selling the clothes, not the hair, I guess. So
Yeah.
it's not going to be like the main priority.
Well, if you're doing a show, you take everything into the culmination. The location, the set, obviously the clothes, the models. This is why you pick models. You don't just let anyone run, because you know, everything is a culmination of each other. But I mean, I suppose you're right. I mean, who cares that much about the hair? But I'm just saying that, you know, some people could be trying to do something more, but maybe they're just scared of this. Ayo, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't know because even Time, I know some fashion shows that like they get the models to change their hair
Right.
like a day before if that's the only show they're doing. Obviously, that's not the case most of the time, but sometimes that happens. And there's also so many styles you can do without braiding your hair, to be honest. I don't think it's to do with this. I doubt it.
You don't think anyone is scared of this, though? Besides, obviously, right? They don't care.
Well, people will be scared of it, but like, in terms of, you can do so many hairstyles with white hair without having to like braid your hair. So I don't think the reason is because they're scared of like backlash from this.
Do we see enough traditional black hairstyles in fashion shows? On black.
Not really. Not that I can think of.
I'm not that if you don't see a lot, but do we see enough? Like, do you think there should be more?
Yeah, it just depends on the designer. Like, I've seen a Cold War shows where people have braided hair, or like Pierre Moss, or even like Telfar shows. It just depends on who it is.
Yolo, do we see enough black hairstyles?
I don't know, what is a traditional black hairstyle necessarily?
You know, dreads, cornrows, afros, braids.
I think that used like quite a bit where it's sort of appropriate. Like Nicholas Daly, Wales Bonner, they all like the ones that go into like blackness as a reference, I think he was in quite a bit, or like even sort of disproportionately more than white hairstyles
Right.
for that effect. But that you just have that most designers, especially the ones that get the most attention, are generally white as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Final
Yeah.
thoughts on this. Final thoughts on this, everyone. Final thoughts.
I mean, we haven't looked at like the reasoning behind it. I sent some.
Did you? I asked you that before, and you said you didn't know, nigga.
I mean, I started getting into like what it could mean.
They're not asking that. I said, yo, what? Like, oh my god. So
I
that's not
sent some
what it
photos
was.
in the chat.
Okay,
so-
okay. I'm
Okay,
open.
nobody's gonna ever see that writing.
Okay, this. All right, they're gonna see this though.
Okay, yeah. So this is she is the head hairstylist for the show.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, she seems to have suggested to Reiko Okubo that they do Egyptian hairstyles,
Yeah.
kind of like pharaohs, and I'm not sure how that ties into the collection at all.
Or why it's bad. Why it's badly done.
Yeah. And then yeah, so but I have read elsewhere that the reason like the whole collection was a comment on this whole sort of cultural appropriation and divisiveness,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and that the world is kind of at war. So she's obviously like thinking about what's happening in the world right now,
Yeah.
and like even the clothes they're like clashing patterns.
Yes. I see that.
All the layers are kind of like going against each other and sort of not really fitting, and they're all sort of jumbled up and pulling against each other in references, and in sort of some pieces are formal, some are really casual, and they're all just layered on top of each other. Doesn't seem to be like, it's not as if it's worn with attention and sort of
It almost seems nonsensical in a sense.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's all about that kind of like people fighting against each other and being divisive or
Yeah.
divisive. And yeah, what's going on in the world right now? And like the hair is just an extension of that. And also, I think there's another layer of argument there that it's all sort of artificial. So the leopard print, for example, is not a real leopard. It's just a print that's made to look like. And the hair is obviously a weave on top, and it's made to like be very clear that it is a weave, which could possibly be about that they're all kind of like fake arguments and fake sort of disagreements. They're just made to kind of split us. It's like white people complaining about racism where like black people aren't and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's all kind of false and artificial.
Just how it's happening right now. All this stuff right now. It's all fucking.
Yeah, it's like it's literally performance art on her behalf, which is kind of genius in a kind of sad way, because
Yeah.
it's sad that we have to have this, but I guess somebody has to do it, and Ray is probably the best person to do it.
It's sad that it's sad that it makes sense and it's true. Is the thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Another example is the checks on the plaids, you call them in America.
We call plaids, buddy.
On the clothing, they're like that. Usually, you'd get plaids kind of like woven into the clothes and stuff. These are printed on.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's
Wow.
all this sort of artifice and sort of fakeness.
Right.
But yeah, that's gonna go over the heads of most people.
All right. What's this? Can you see that? Yeah. People can.
I can't see the text. What does it say?
This
I'll
is-
read the text.
You read the text out, Yolo, with your beautiful
Okay.
voice.
Beautiful Dajili, I think that's the model's name.
Yeah, probably.
# perfection at Comme, time of color kaleidoscope. My inspiration for Ray Egyptien, which is Egyptian in French, boys, Tutankhamun, and then
Bunch of
Tagger,
tags.
Djili, and Walter Pierce, who's from Midland Agency, who casted the show. Yeah, just Adrian Joff and people from that song, basically. So yeah, she's trying to. I don't know. I don't think any of them like. They seem to be quite in like ivory towers, kind of looking at all of us, kind of fighting over this
silliness. It's fighting over the silliness.
And that's what the collection's all about. Whether that is in good taste, but I had this argument yesterday. Like, good taste.
Do you not think that's in good taste?
I mean, it's obviously in bad taste, really. But then there's taste is so complex. Like, bad taste can often be good taste if you do it with a certain amount of irony and sarcasm, and sort of that it's bad taste. It's kind of like when vêtements is like bad taste, but in good taste. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. You put this in. Have you put this in High Fashion Talk yet?
No, not yet.
Are you scared to? Do you not want to?
I did post the about the hair at the start, and it was mainly just like white people saying that it's not cultural appropriation. So
but no offense, but those type of opinions, it's just like people just trying to go against the grain rather than actually say something.
Yeah, exactly.
That further than like surface level.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
So, yeah, I deleted the post because I just didn't want that smoke, to be honest.
I didn't want that smoke. It's really weird to me when white people are trying their hardest to defend black people, like as if we can't defend ourselves. I've had this argument with a couple of white people, white chicks usually. It's usually white chicks it's weird. It's usually white chicks that go to college. Anyways, they'll try to. I'm telling you, it's usually like, and they'll try to argue with me what I should be upset at. I'm like, I don't care. I really don't care. And I feel like it's always. I feel like people are trying to overcompensate by trying not to be racist so hard that they don't want to say their own opinion. Like, they don't want to be like, oh, you know what? To be honest, this, and this. They just don't want to be on the quote unquote racist side of the argument.
Yeah.
With that being said, Yellow, are you a racist? Let's get down to it.
No. I love black people.
If
I'm
I
gonna
can't,
get cunned for that.
yeah, I love black people. I should clip that. Play it at the beginning of every show. Okay. So, in closing, actually, I'm gonna ask you guys first. What is the final conclusion? What should we take away from this? What does this mean? Why are people upset? In your opinion, in your words, matter of fact. Hey, yo, I'm gonna go to you first.
Alright, so first of all, anytime we have a conversation about something that's happened, people have to have context.
Right.
You have to actually know who Ray is, so you know where it's actually coming from, so you can understand where it could potentially come from. You have to be aware of the way of design over the years of Comme des Garcons. You also have to have a balanced viewpoint. You can't just jump to conclusions the first time you see things.
Right.
And in that regard, there's more that needs to be said before people can form final opinions on this. The hairdresser hasn't fully said where the inspiration is from. Ray hasn't said anything about it. So until then, there's no need to jump to conclusions, to be honest.
And for the record, that's why I feign ignorance usually, so I can get so you guys can explain to other people what the hell's going on, because I don't think people know who Ray is really. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think people know. I mean, the people who are going to be in outrage about this don't know. That's what I'm saying. All right, Yellow, what do you think?
I think it's kind of unnecessary. That's what I feel like. Why did Comme des Garçons have to go and kick the bee's nest in this situation?
Did you think?
Um,
Do you think when they did this, they know what that was gonna happen?
I think, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Um,
So it was almost intentional to kick the bee's nest. Other than like, besides having to do this and then kicking the bee's nest in the process, were they intentionally trying to kick the bee's nest, as you so eloquently put it?
yeah, I think they definitely were.
Mm.
Because I think it's a political statement about how the world has gone quote unquote PC mad.
Right.
Not that I agree with that. It's just yeah, I don't think. But then there is a point of like, if nobody does it, like, are we just gonna get more and more sort of bland and sort of segregated, and it's kind of like a Cold War where like nobody talks about it, nobody actually bridges the gap between cultures.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that's why I don't necessarily agree with your sentiment that they shouldn't have done this or it was unnecessary. This is what they had to say. This is how they chose to portray what they wanted to say. So I don't necessarily think that they shouldn't have done that. I mean,
Yeah.
we're having this discussion because of what happened, right? And let's say we get I'm assuming we're gonna have more people watching this. Let's say we get 50 people to watch this video in total, 50 people, and let's say just half of those people agree on the other side of the argument, right? 25 of those people think that this is racist or whatever, or it's cultural appropriation. Let's say just half of those people, just 12 people, change their mind. They go, you know what? That makes sense. I don't really think, because people don't think that opinions are supposed to change. If you have an opinion about something, you can change it. So let's say we just get 12 people to be like, you know what? I see what they're coming from. It doesn't make much sense for me to be upset about this. It's in the context of the show. This is what they're trying to portray. I should be, less upset. So that's why I think this is, something like this is good, and that we should see more of something like this where we're kind of asking these questions, raising the question like, oh, are we too PC, for example? You see what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's pointing out a problem with the sort of media and press and the sort of culture we have at the moment of sort of outrage and making like something out of issues all the time.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's a very French attitude to just get over shit.
It's a very French attitude.
Yeah. Like, they don't give a shit. Like, same way as, like, Americans do.
Okay. Number one. This is a ridiculous argument. You can't start yelling at people for doing different hairstyles. Especially, you know what? Forget the context of the show. Let's say you say you don't give a fuck about the context of the show, and let's say you're not going to learn because you don't care that much. Even regardless of that, you shouldn't be upset at certain people for wearing certain hairstyles, no matter what. Unless their hair is dirty, you can't be upset at them for having a different hairstyle. Number two, when you take into account the context, in the context of this one, then you start to peel back the layers, so to speak, and realize like, oh, okay, I see why they're doing this. Like, this makes sense. I shouldn't be upset. I question everyone who I would like everyone who disagrees with us or disagrees with me to counter argument everything I've said and let me know why what I said is ridiculous, because I think we had a pretty foolproof argument. You know what I mean? I don't think there's much room for error at all, really. But of course, maybe that's just our opinion. Maybe we're stupid.
Right.
Maybe we're stupid. But I'm betting that we're not. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm gonna open up a poll on my Instagram actually after this video drops. So if you have an opinion, go to Jesus Christ. Why can't I speak? If you have an opinion, go to my Instagram, go to AL's Instagram, let us know what you think. And with all that, all the links will be down in the description. Peace out and goodbye.